Hey guys, we're back with a response video to a few of my commenters on the PlayStation fan base being PlayStation's biggest problem recording. It seemed like the main thing some of these commenters want to do, and it's no knock on them obviously, but they wanted to deflect and say, well, Xbox has the same problem. And I commented and said that no, Xbox's biggest problem is Microsoft. Biggest problem. Microsoft's being Xbox's biggest problem is evident in the fact that Xbox wasn't even Xbox for about, a year or so until about last week when Asha Sharma changed it back to that. They were Microsoft Gaming. And then you had the 30%, at least this is a rumor, I don't know if this is true or not. 30%, I think it was dividend. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they had to earn a certain amount of money back in order for the studio to hit its funding goals, which is apparently it was well above industry standard, or at least considered grossly unfair. It's things like that where Microsoft, I think, bit off more than they thought they could chew is financially by acquiring Activision. And I guess they thought, oh, we got Call of Duty, it's just gonna print money. And again, the problem with Microsoft, I think, really is that it's a bunch of execs that don't really understand the video game industry or gaming in general. And Suits not understanding gaming has been evident really for the past year in gross ways. Like the whole, when Google launched that, I forget the name of that AI software it launched, but you could basically make a small vertical slice, if you want to call it that, of a game by putting in a prompt. And I think the game industry lost like $4 billion the day this thing showed up. That tells you alone that there are a lot of people controlling the money that flows in and out of gaming that don't know the singlest small detail about what happens with game development and gaming in general. Microsoft, or Xbox's biggest problem is Microsoft. And maybe it's a was now, but seeing how they're still under Microsoft, let's keep it as is. Just being honest. PlayStation is the biggest thing under Sony. Sony themselves have come out and said this, right? If PlayStation goes bad, Sony as a corporation might be cooked. Music doesn't generate the money PlayStation does. Electronics doesn't generate the money PlayStation does. Hell, the few electronics they still actually make themselves. They sold the TV division or merged it with somebody else. It was TCL or TLC, whatever. TCL, I think. Music industry has been cooked. Can't imagine how much money Sony really is making off that. I mean, maybe because I think they still own the Michael Jackson estate or part of it. But honestly, like, Sony has nothing going on the scale of PlayStation as a corporation. So really, the corporation is kind of moved out of the way. They're still controlling it, right? But I don't think the fist is as iron as it is with Microsoft over Xbox. So the PlayStation's biggest problem then, and this is where I was going with that, are the influencers and the people who speak on, or are supposed to be speaking on PlayStation the most, spending a vast majority of their time talking about Xbox and what it's doing. I've seen Xbox guys say, where the hell's Banjo-Kazooie? A lot of Xbox guys will not let Microsoft forget about the fact that they own all these IP. I've always held this argument with Sony, and now even with Microsoft, especially after 2019 when they acquired Bethesda, subsequently 2023 when they finally acquired Activision after a 2-year battle. You shouldn't be waiting for Grand Theft Auto if you're Sony and you own The Getaway, or if you're Microsoft and you own True Crime Streets of LA. Why are you waiting for them? Why are you waiting for Red Dead Redemption if you're Microsoft and you bought Activision, so you own Gun? Remember Gun? Could very easily make that again. Hire some writers, open world devs. You got plenty of them, I'm sure. Make a new Gun. No, let's wait for Red Dead Redemption 3 come out 10 years from now. Like, and I would love to see more Microsoft guys get on Xbox about that, but to be fair, they've only owned this company for like 3 years coming this October. Sony closed down the Getaway Studio. Sony isn't doing anything with Warhawk or Starhawk. Sony isn't doing anything with, hell, talking about Call of Duty. What the hell is Resistance Fallen Man? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Where's SOCOM? Where's MAG? Killzone? Why would you need to pay Konami to give you exclusive stuff in the new Metal Gear, especially when Kojima's not even making the damn thing anymore, when you have Siphon Filter sitting right there? I don't see PlayStation guys asking these questions, but they get all giddy and excited when Sony has paid another studio they don't control to make a PlayStation version of the game, but not an Xbox version, when at the end of the day, once this Helix thing drops, that's going to be ineffective anyway, because they're just going to switch to Steam and buy it on that Xbox anyway. And I can't help but wonder, how much money have you given to these studios that you don't own to keep a game off Xbox that you could have given to Bluepoint to stay open? Like, how much of this money could you have given to Media Molecule to not have to fire people or shut down Dreams? Dreams should have been way bigger than what it ended up being. Hell, I'm not going to lie to you. Dreams should have been one of those things you ported to PC. If they had ported Dreams to PC, as big as it was on PlayStation, it could have been massive. Now, Sandbox is coming out next week. Gary's Mind 2 really is what it is. And it's going to take that spot. The tools that were in Dreams were incredible. Sony just, let's just spend money on making shit nobody wants. Y'all not calling that out. That's the problem. Anytime you ask a PlayStation guy what's wrong, 100 million consoles sold, exclusive. Who gives a shit? Those exclusives are exclusive for a year. You're barely putting out games in a calendar year. Who cares? And the poison pill is something like this Soros game. The Soros game is coming out, and it looks cool, admittedly. I don't give a shit about it because I didn't care about Returnal like that. But Returnal was sold, 4.5 million units? Maybe 5 million units after the Steam release? What is Soros about to do? Maybe it hits 10? Maybe? But I certainly hope Media Molecule didn't spend more than they need to spend making it. I know that actor probably cost a pretty penny because he's pretty well known. But if that game doesn't make enough money, is Media Molecule going to get shut down? Are they going to have to hurry up and make it for PC like they did Spider-Man 2 because it didn't hit the sales that they wanted it to? Like, these are questions you motherfuckers are not asking. But you want to talk about Xbox and their fan base. Look, those motherfuckers are in third place. And they are constantly shifting and changing strategy and playing nice because they have to. Sony is not only not giving a damn about their own franchises, they're throwing money in places they don't need to throw it. And then to make matters worse, last week, they put some kind of weird-ass DRM in the machines via an update that gives you a 30-day countdown on when you can play your games offline. And we're talking about Xbox's fan base and the PlayStation fan base video. That's the problem, guys. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you are a PlayStation guy, stop worrying about Xbox. Okay, they're in trouble. Okay, they're having problems. We get that. They're in third place. That's why they're there. We don't need to regurgitate that over. Why is it that Sony, who is in first place by a literal mile or kilometer, whatever you want to measure it as, why are they closing down studios and Microsoft is publishing shit every other month? You gotta ask that question. Like, that Xbox brand is being backed by so much money that even in failure, they thrive. You need to start worrying about that. You need to start worrying about the fact that even with Jim Ryan gone, Herman Host is there and he's pushing these dog shit agendas as far as live service games. And it's hurting that brand. Right? It's hurting that brand in a way that you haven't seen the effects quite yet, but you will. And you actually are already kind of seeing them because there's no reason that Blue Point is closed. That studio's supposed to be around right now making either original IP or a remake of something else or both, honestly. But whatever money they gave the Phantom Blade Zero team to put the game on PlayStation and not on Xbox, again, a problem that Xbox gamers won't have by next year if the Helix comes out and does what they say it's going to do. Or if they wait a year, it'll probably be on the Xbox anyway. Instead of taking that money and pouring it back into a Blue Point or a Media Molecule, oh, we're going to have you fire staff or shut you down. That's a problem, guys. That's what I'm talking about. And if PlayStation fans don't want to address that, then, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a loud voice for PlayStation. I'm not a loud voice for anything. I'm a gamer that likes games, but I'm not going to sit here and act like that shit's not a problem when it actually is. And it's a big problem. You can't tell me you're in first place and you're shutting down studios. You can't tell me you're in first place and you're launching games that no one gives a shit about. And that everything that's holding you together is waiting on somebody that's not you to make games for your console. How long is that really going to work? That's the question that needs to be asked. Not, oh, well, Xbox bad too. Not talking about them. We know they're bad. They're in third place. That's all I got to say, man. Like, and no disrespect to you guys. Look, I appreciate you commenting and engaging. I rarely get that. I do appreciate it. I love it, as a matter of fact. And I would love for you guys to respond again. But let's stay focused here, man. That was about the PlayStation fan base. And some of you guys went right ahead and did exactly what I was talking about. We're not talking about Xbox. Xbox got their own problems. Again, they are in third place for a reason. Even with Asha Sharma fixing what she's fixed, she's got a long way to go. We're talking about PlayStation and a clear house fire that's getting bigger and bigger by the moment. And ain't nobody saying shit because we want to talk about Xbox bad, PlayStation good, when PlayStation really ain't good right now. And you don't have to take my word for it. David Jaffe, the creator of God of War, even said it himself. That shit is trash right now. I don't care what the ratings for Soros are. What if you don't give a fuck about Soros? Clearly, most people didn't give a fuck about Returnal. No one bought it. 90 million consoles sold, 5 million copies of the game. That's nothing to 90-something million consoles. Now, Soros may prove different. Soros may sell 10, 20 million copies, but it is a single-player, narrative-based, bullet hell shooter that's a sequel to a single-player, narrative-based, bullet hell shooter that no one gave a fuck about in the first place. So what are we saying? Don't tell me that it's okay that Sony has to depend on fucking Marvel comic licensed games to sell 10, 15 million copies, because Wolverine's probably the only thing they're going to put out this year that touches that number. And Phantom Blade Zero might get that number too, but that'll probably be because Asia buys it on PC. because it's launching on PC at the same time. Like, the only anomaly they have is like the baseball games, which again is based on another major IP, which is the MLB, and fucking Helldivers. And they've already lost control of that company, right? That company's already said, yeah, our next game, we're not going to publish with Sony because they're probably going to want to put it everywhere the first day. So that's not a feather in your cap. When they decide to leave that game alone, there goes the money from that. So that's all I'm saying, guys. Like, we got to be serious about what the problem is. And when former execs are telling you, this shit ain't looking good. Shoya Ishida, this shit ain't looking good. David Jaffe, this shit ain't looking good. They know better than we do. They work there. That's all I'm saying, guys. But please continue, engage, comment, like, subscribe, dislike if you didn't like the video and what I said. Tell me how wrong I am. Tell me how right I am. Tell me why you do or don't disagree. I'll see you in the next video. And let's talk about this, man. What does Sony need to do? Am I on the right track? There's things I'm missing. Like, something's got to give with this shit. Because, like, how long can this really work? And even if it's working for them in their pockets, as a fan, am I okay with it? I'm not. I want new games and franchises I grew up loving on PlayStation. I don't want a fucking Horizon Zero Dawn extraction game or whatever the hell that garbage. I don't want that shit. And I think largely nobody does. Crowd has spoken, man. But get at me in the next video, man. I'll talk to you dudes later. Peace.